On today's podcast, we'll look at 3 of the most common mistakes that new and even experienced managers make, what causes them, and how to avoid them. Hi, I'm Rick Kendall.
And I'm Fred Ball.
Welcome to Management Mastery. The purpose of these podcasts is to share what each of us has learned about good and bad management during our 20 years of experience both as managers and executive coaches. During that time, we have coached managers at every level in companies from Fortune 100 to brand new startups in all major businesses. So whether you're just starting in your first management position or are an experienced manager looking to strengthen your management skills, we know our podcast will be valuable for you.
Being a manager presents you with great opportunities to show management what you can accomplish. But in the spirit of being forewarned is being forearmed, we want to talk about 3 critical mistakes new managers and even some experienced ones frequently make. We hope this discussion will help you to avoid making them yourself.
So what are some of the mistakes that new managers make? Well, we'll discuss 3 very common ones. The first is to focus almost exclusively on accomplishing business goals and not paying attention to the needs of your people. The second, managers think that they're expected to have all the answers when they should ask for help. And third, they allow themselves to be influenced by the wrong advisors, co-workers who have hidden agendas that are not necessarily in the best interest of the manager or the company.
Rick, I have a good example of the first. Putting focus on accomplishing business goals totally ahead of the well-being of one's staff. When our client, we'll call him Liam in this example, was put in charge of a small department, his boss called him in and told him the department was behind and told him the specific business goals she wanted accomplished. In other words, she told him what she wanted accomplished. They didn't talk about the how it would be accomplished. He went off and immediately started to think about what he could do to get the right direction for his department in order to get the department back on the schedule that it should be on and get caught up. Once he laid out his expectations, he then had a meeting with his staff and he told them how he expected them to accomplish the new goals.
It sounds like the right approach to me. So what happened?
Well, unfortunately, within a few months, his boss started to hear rumblings from Liam's staff that they didn't like him, that he rode roughshod over them, and that he was unreasonably demanding. So she called him in, and they had a conversation about it, and he said that he would do his best to try and overcome the situation. Unfortunately, about 2 or 3 months after that, the situation had not improved, and his boss called him in again. And this time she was more directive. She said, look, you're going to need to get some help, and you need to improve now. So she sent him to us. One of the things that he had learned in the past 6 months was that the former boss had been very much a buddy to the staff and was very soft. His management of the staff and his evaluation of the work that they were doing. So we helped Liam to understand that the staff could easily then, in a situation like that, resent the demanding new boss who had come in. And clearly Liam was more demanding. So we listened to him. We asked him whether he had ever heard, we don't care how much you know until we know how much you care. And he looked at us blankly and said, no, I never heard that. But it didn't take much discussion for him to get to understand that what we were saying was pretty important. So we then said, let's lay out a plan that you need to first spend time with each person individually to get to know them. Then you need to tell them, look, I'm sorry, I've been focused so much on the goals that we need and the area that we need to make up that I haven't been as focused on you as individuals, and I want you to know how much I care about you. We also suggested that he spend some time discussing why he had selected the direction that he had, and to understand that he could very easily solicit their advice, and in some cases they might have better ideas than he did. Once we got started with this, he got onto it very fast, began to understand what we were saying, and enacted a very good plan moving forward.
In my experience, too, this is very common. The boss is focused on the business issues, the needs of the department, and not enough on the interpersonal dynamics that might have led to the problems in the first place. By focusing on what needs to be accomplished and not dealing with the critical aspects of how to best accomplish it, the new manager can easily get off on the wrong foot with their new staff. The advice I think we would both give to a new manager is to both ask the boss about those dynamics, but also to take the time to meet with the staff and to get to know them and their understanding of the situation and solicit their views on how to address it. This will give valuable insights both into how the group functions and what led to the problems in the first place, as well as communicate to your staff that you value their opinions. Related to this problem is a second problem that new managers have, and that is that they think that they're expected to know all the answers when actually they don't. A good example of this is another client I'll call Jackie. She'd been promoted to manage a department based on the fact that she had been very successful in managing an area in that department. But now that she was running the entire department, her boss told her how he wanted the department to move ahead, make some key decisions about the future direction of the entire department, and to communicate that direction to her staff and to the broader company. Now, what did she do? She allowed everything to remain the same. She focused on her previous area and did not move the entire department ahead. And eventually, her boss called her to say that he had not seen the leadership behavior from her that he had expected in terms of setting and communicating the new direction. She admitted to him that she didn't feel that setting a new direction was her forte, but getting things done was. And that's when the boss said that he thought she should talk to us. So what we did was we helped Jackie to understand that no manager is expected to have all the answers, but they were expected to understand that what their strengths and weaknesses were, and in the short term to ask for help. And in her case, she could get it from her boss, from other executives in the company, and in some cases from her own staff. So she finally understood that and started reaching out, and she was able to set a new direction for her entire department.
A third problem new managers can have is to be influenced by the wrong advice. This is especially true when a new leader comes to the organization from the outside. As you can imagine, this creates an inevitable jockeying by those who have exerted influence in the old organization and are looking for a place in the new organization. So a gentleman came into a position and found that he was being influenced by two staff members who were personally charming, but he didn't know initially, but found out that they were not very effective at conducting their business. It took him a couple of months to recognize this and realize that they had gotten too close to him, and he came to us for help. So in reviewing the situation of him coming on board, we discussed some of the reasons for staff jockeying. Some folks have their own agenda. They, for example, might be afraid to lose their job, or they're trying to get as close to the boss as they can. Another is that someone might have ideas, strong ideas on how the business should be run. And, that can be very helpful to a boss when they find that out. Another might be to mislead someone who wanted the position and didn't get the promotion. And another person might seek a stronger stake for their job in the future direction of the department. So we suggested that he back off to close contact with those two staff members, get back to a neutral position with them, that he use care in deciding to whom to listen to and to what degree. And we said, look, it doesn't have to be all at once. It can be something that comes over time, that he keep the lines of communication open to ensure that internal influence is balanced. And we said to him, just as someone is known for the company they keep, so judgments about new leaders are based on perceptions of who influences them. Fortunately, our client was bright. He understood what he had done. He realized that if he were ever to be in that situation again, he would handle things differently. And he sought to move out to better, more reliable information among the members of his staff and treated them in the same manner.
In summary, then, we've covered the following 3 mistakes that new managers often make. First, that they fail to take the time to build relationships with their new staff, and most importantly, to solicit their input as to what's going on in the department and what issues it faces, and their suggestions about how to address them. Related to that is the realization that they don't have to, as new managers, have all of the answers. Again, that it is acceptable and indeed desirable to ask questions and to make sure that you understand what's going on. And finally, to cast a wide net in terms of whose advice you take and who you take on as advisors. Because the first people that step up sometimes have ulterior motives and their own agendas. We hope you have found this podcast useful and will come back again for more management mastery. If you have comments or questions about this or any of our episodes, or would like to find out more about our other services, including one-on-one coaching and group seminars for managers, visit our website at careercoachclass.com for information on our courses, as well as links to our LinkedIn and YouTube channels. Thanks for listening.